Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says no deadline on circulation of old series of Naira banknotes. Nigerian equities market crosses 60 trillion Naira market capitalization for the first time. International Monetary Fund, IMF, urges structural reforms to improve Nigeria's growth outlook. Plus, oil heads for weekly gain as Middle East keeps market on edge. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Nneka Oko. Welcome to the program. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has refuted claims that the old 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes will cease to be legal tender on December 31st, 2024. Statement by Acting Director Corporate Communications of the bank, Hakama Sidi Ali, says the Supreme Court's November 29, 2023 order, which extended the validity of old notes indefinitely, remains in effect. Both old and redesigned notes will continue to circulate, and all CBN branches will accept and issue them through deposit money banks. The public is urged to disregard contrary reports, use all banknotes for transactions, handle them carefully, and explore electronic payment options to ease cash reliance. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says it is not producing data to favor government, but give it tools to plan and implement programs that will drive economic growth and development of the country. This was the position of the Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniro, at a sensitization of media editors and executives on the Nigerian Living Standards Survey 2023 and 2024 and rebasing of gross domestic product and consumer prices index in Abuja. The forum focuses on building awareness around gross domestic product, consumer price index, and Nigeria Living Standards Survey. The NBS believes that with accurate reporting, citizens will be better informed, fostering trust and understanding of Nigeria's economic trajectory.
Not to be partial, and it is very important for us not to be emotional. We need to produce data accurate the way it is and give government. If the data is not accurate, even if government want to use it and they are using wrong data, they will not be able to come up with solution to the problem and challenges faced by the citizen. So we recognize this, that at any point in time, we must ensure that what we are producing reflects what is happening.
Now, Nigeria's blue economy contributes approximately 3% to GDP, primarily through oil and gas, that is offshore production, fishing and aquaculture, in addition to shipping and ports, with tourism not left out. Now, with conversations at the 30th IMF World Bank meeting holding in Washington, D.C., centered on reducing global inflation, Business Express today will focus on how Nigeria can leverage her vast fisheries and aquaculture to enhance food security and reduce pressure on food prices, in addition to issues around import substitution by developing local maritime transportation and coastal shipping to reduce reliance on foreign vessels, lower import costs, and create jobs. Our guest is one of Nigeria's marine economists, MSMEs, trade expert by interest, architect by profession, and president, Nigeria-Bangladesh Business and Technology Forum, Bob Achaya. You are welcome to Business Express.
Great to be here again.
All right, let's start with the one everyone identifies with, that's the seafood. Every evening, Nigerians love to relax in gardens with their tables garnished with all kinds of seafoods. But they are never enough in supply and prices keep going up. How can we harness this potential?
Well, thank you very much. I may have a problem with that introduction, but that is on the humorous side. The joints and all the areas you have, having fish and all, you know, the condiments with it. I don't think that is such a good thing for us, particularly in Abuja, that a lot of those fish and other sea food items that you say are basically gotten from artificial or trainings, you know, from fish ponds and all that, not really from the river. But if I may go just a bit slightly there, yes, Nigeria is a jolly good country. We enjoy ourselves, but what we enjoy, actually, most of them come from outside, and that is where the issue is. And that is why the focus of the World Bank at the ongoing events to discuss about how to reduce inflation becomes very, very pertinent in our climb here. And it's good also that we are looking at the blue economy. The blue economy, in essence, is the sustainable use of ocean resources, you know, for economic benefits. Once we use them sustainably, then future generations can actually be part of the opportunities that comes with it, you know, in the future. And if that is the case, what has Nigeria done to be able to put all that, you know, on the scale for the citizenry to benefit? Are we doing that? If you recall, while the private sector has been so deep in advocating for the blue economy sector to be given that prominence in our economy over the years, you recall that it was just in August 2023 that His Excellency the President, on assumption of duty, decided to give prominence to that sector as the major contributory factor to the job creation and the employment generation efforts of his administration. Having said that, the blue economy and the aquaculture items, you know, outputs, as you said, including fisheries, is so important in developing a framework that we must be able to give it that prominence it deserves in order for us to optimize the benefits that accrue from it. And how do we do that? If I may ask, do we have a blue economy framework for the country as we are today? That is something we need to know. If there is no framework, then it is very, very important. But as far as I know, I think efforts are on by the current minister, who is also the pioneer minister, to be able to provide that framework for, you know, the players in that sector, you know, to perform and also to be regulated. And having said that, what it then means is that what we are relying now on is the use of staccato frameworks, you know, from the different organizations or the different departments and agencies of government to actually provide a framework, you know, a guide, you know, to the implementation of the blue economy in Nigeria. So basically, what we are having now is still based on efforts by all the departments to put something together. And I think until we have a framework properly spelled out guiding the sector in Nigeria, I think we have some time to go. But as per aquaculture and fisheries, I think it is important that we give prominence to it, because that's one of the major job creation and employment generation aspects, you know, in the entire blue economy. And you are talking about fishing, you are talking about other sustainable aquaculture practices, You are talking also about mariculture. Mariculture is not very known in our own climate here. And then you are with mariculture, you are talking about producing shell, you know, and shell and other food, ocean food materials, you know, within the ocean setting. Okay. And I think with aquaculture and fisheries being given prominence, we will be able to eventually see how we can begin to expand it, see how we can be able to boost and bring technology and innovation into it to be able to provide for the huge opportunity that we have in that sector, as well as enhance market access. I think those are the three pillars that we will be able to play on in order to provide a guidance, you know, for the sector in Nigeria.
All right, Nigeria's blue economy has a huge export potential. How can we tap into that and earn more foreign exchange?
Well, that is a question that I will also need to ask. But you see, until we begin to give prominence to the private sector participation in the economy, a lot of these will still have to tinker with the impact of government wanting to be directly involved. So in my view, because we are just starting with the blue economy here, looking at other climes, I think government will do good enough, well enough to provide the enabling environment for the private sector, you know, to be able to drive. And in saying that, what I mean is that if we have to set up seafood processing plants, you know, or manufacturing platforms to be able to take on the issue of, you know, exporting, is a whole gamut of experience that we need to go through in that area. If we have to go through that, it then means all the agencies must be at their optimal level performing. You have the NEPC there that also provides incentive or regulation for SMEs that are involved in putting all these exports together to send them out. You have the NIPC that is also there, that is expected to be promoting investment opportunities for foreign direct investments to come. You have SMIDAN that is basically mandated, you know, to look to the organization and productivity of the SMEs in the sector. I think so far a lot is being done, but we still need to do so much in order for us to be able to put this on, you know, on the right scale, for us to be able to implement export-driven policies that can get us to the level that you are discussing now. So
what's the number one policy change you would like to see to unlock Nigeria's blue economy potential? What is that one policy change you would love to see?
Yes, thank you very much. For the policy change, because I said that initial, we do not have a policy here. The first thing for us to do is to put an implementable and sustainable policy on the ground. A kind of policy that once we put it, changes in government and whoever is the leader will not affect, you know, the implementation of the policy. We now have to drive the sector with sustainable policies that can get everyone, you know, to be able to project that within so and so period, this is what we can get, this is what we can do, and this is where we can get to. Otherwise, it will still be the same cut and paste. We'll still be doing the same mistakes, and then we'll have very beautiful policies on paper, but you cannot actually implement. And I actually see that the policy change that should come is for us to be able to identify whether we are going to have a full homegrown policy at this time. We find the advantage of having policies in the other sectors, you know, taken from other places. We need to consider whether it is homegrown. We need to consider whether it's Afrocentric. We also need to consider whether we are going to be a leader in the blue economy sector in Nigeria. Take for granted that other countries have started, you know, in this blue economy over the years. Kenya, for instance, started since 2012. And you can imagine where we are today. If we are starting now, we must be able to take all the benefits of the experiences and then put something together that will give us the opportunity to be able to speak well and lead the African continent in order to open up our blue space. It has to do with transportation, connectivity, our waterways, our ocean ways, and all that it involves in order to bring us together as one continent and one country.
I know you're working on the Blue Economy Summit and MSME's Expo. Will you be exploring offshore renewable energy and innovation at this event? Can you tell us more about them?
Yes, thank you very much. The Afro-Asia SME Expo and Exhibition is expected to come in the last week of, or second but last week of November, 19th of November to 21st of November. And it's expected to bring Africa and Asia into Nigeria to be able to look at the opportunities we have in our SMEs. Hitherto now, we've always gone out to take, our export opportunities, the SME, what they produce and export, we take them out. This time we feel time has come for the Asian countries to be able to come here and look at what we have and take advantage of that, to be able to look at the joint ventures and then the opportunities that we can have for collaboration and pitching our own SME entrepreneurs together. That in itself will provide a very huge access to international market that we so much deserve in this country now. The idea also is that we cannot continue to be at the giving end. Let's, for once, receive the opportunities that can come in from all these people. And from the diplomatic briefing that are held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it is a well-received event, it is a well-received program, and we are hoping that at the end of the day we are going to have a very wonderful outing by the grace of God, to the benefit of Nigeria, and then as a contribution to the efforts of this administration to expand our export base and also work on the exchange rate disparity that is so much now. So
after all the engagements with the MSMEs and experts on blue economy, what should we Nigerians be expecting? Yes,
thank you. The Blue Economy Summit is also another one. That one is going to come up in Benue State in Makadi. We have 28 littoral states. Benue is just one of them, and the governor has very strongly accepted to host that event and bring everyone into that environment to be able to speak to the issues. Some of the SMEs that are going to come in are also going to be involving the issues of emerging SMEs, emerging skills that will be able to use to do aquaculture, shipbuilding and ship repair and all that it takes. So at the end of the event, we are hoping that we'll have, more access, to networking opportunities. We have more access to job creation, because a lot would have been exposed, and a lot of the participants too will be able to learn new tools that will make them to expand on their trades, in the SME sector, and therefore provide that vista for them to be able to also export more and earn more foreign exchange. We also develop capacity in our own place, as well as also see how we are able to expand in the space that we are speaking, blue economy.
Mr. Achanya, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on Nigeria's blue economy.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, civil society organizations participating in the ongoing World Bank and IMF annual meetings in Washington, D.C. have called for comprehensive reforms in the IMF's framework for Africa. Spokesperson for the group, Awal Musa, a Nigerian civil rights activist, emphasized the need for developing economies to receive more guidance on how to hold government officials accountable for their spending on financial aid. He noted that greater transparency and oversight mechanisms are essential to ensure that the financial and provided is used, that finance is used effectively for the intended purposes.
To democratize and ensure more transparency and accountability in the IMF World Bank framework. Many countries in Africa, economy is falling down, and lack of information from both governments in countries and also from the IMF that will hold government accountable for its financial dealings with financial institutions, continue to create gaps, continue to create doubt, continue to create remorse. And that is why civil society, in a way of ensuring that we have more credible financial system across the world that also works for the poor people, that also work for the disadvantaged countries, are pushed in place.
Still on the ongoing IMF World Bank annual meetings in Washington, the International Monetary Fund says the global economy has proven resilient and a soft landing is within reach. But what are the specific strategies for Nigeria and Africa? The IMF Managing Director has highlighted tailored policy advice, financial lifelines when needed, and capacity development plan for Africa. Moplan Dakok reports.
Cooperate.
While the IMF and the World Bank continue to support countries to recover and grow, the 2024 World Development Report indicates that 74 out of 108 countries like Nigeria, classified as middle-income countries, are still trapped at a lower level.
How countries break out of this middle income?
IMF Managing Director says the fund is undertaking some steps to restructure African economies and catalyze their transformation.
Basically, for low-income countries, this is not given that you cannot break out of it, but it does require a comprehensive program of reforms. It does require consistency of implementing these reforms, and it does require bringing public support for it. And what we do at the fund is to work with countries to identify that pathway, country by country, country-specific directions of reforms that can help achieve that result.
The IMF's position is that growth-enhancing reforms are urgently needed to lift growth prospects by boosting investments, job creation, and productivity. In Washington, D.C., Moplan Dakok, NTA.
The equities market in Nigeria extended gains to Friday after crossing the 60 trillion naira equity capitalization yesterday. The all-share index increased to 99,448.91 points from 99,189.95 points in the previous session. A total of 460.8 million shares valued at 9.5 billion naira were traded in 8,772 deals as market capitalization continued momentum at 60.3 trillion naira. Shams, UBA and Transcorp were the most traded stocks in terms of volume. Global stocks were set to end the week lower as looming U.S. data and Japan's weekend election curbed a rally already knocked off course by the close-run race for the White House and expectations the Federal Reserve will resist rapid rate cuts. Let's now join Maria Zachary for summary. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Neka. Global markets are mostly bearish this Friday afternoon. European markets traded in red while rounding off a largely negative week for global stocks as third quarter earnings season has stepped up. DAX was lower by 0.02%. We have FTSE which dropped 0.24% and CAC follows this at 0.27%. Asia markets were mixed with investors awaiting Japan's general election after having released its October inflation numbers for the capital city of Tokyo, its last key economic data before the election. Looking at the figures, we have Nikkei, which depreciated by 0.60%. Shanghai Composite inched higher by 0.59%. Hang Seng Index followed suit at 0.49%. U.S. stock futures rise Friday after the S&P 500 end a three-day negative streak, while investors look to end a volatile week on a high note. Futures tied to the Dow Jones dropped by 0.33%. We have S&P 500, which surged higher by 0.21%, and the Nasdaq Composite follows this at 0.76%. Africa markets are bearish at South Africa. JSE Top 40 dipped 0.21%. We have Tunisia Tune Index, which was low by 0.17%. Namibia All-Share Index follows this at 0.07%. Ghana was marginal this afternoon. That's a summary of the global market. I am Maria Zakari. It's over to you, Ineka.
Thank you, Maria. This is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback. So keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns on Monday at 3 p.m. I am Neka Oku.